Hello there, beautiful people. Good morning from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Today, I want to do a few reviews, a few talks, I guess, on fragrances. So, I have three episodes ready for you. It's right now 7 a.m. Sorry, not 7, 9 a.m. Where am I? Okay, so it's still early morning, pretty much sunny out there. No sign of winter just yet, but I think soon we'll start seeing some changes, hopefully, like last year. So I have some nice fragrances for you today. I want to start with actually the morning thoughts episode. Just this thought yesterday I was sharing with one of my brothers. I want to talk about that. So this basically is a very simple topic. That is, what is the difference between fragrances back in the time, like our time when we were young, and now fragrances nowadays. What's up with that? Just my comment. I don't want to say this is better than that or whatever, but I just like to put my personal opinion. So I would like to know your thoughts as well. It's going to be a very small topic. The thing I was thinking, like, back in the time, like say 90s, 80s era, when used to wear, like, smell fragrance, not really wear. That time we didn't have that many fragrances. But whatever fragrances were out, let's say, fragrance like Polo Green, Ralph Lauren Safari, Polo Sport, Cool Water, Fahrenheit, every single fragrance had an identification, like it had an identity. Every single fragrance was unique. You can smell one fragrance and you can tell by the smell you are smelling Fahrenheit. Then if you're smelling Polo Blue, you know it's Polo Blue. Um, Fragrances, like like those fragrance days. So basically, let's say you smell Dreamer, there was nothing like Dreamer. But nowadays the trend has become like uh, two kinds, like to my nose, or to my understanding, that is flankers game, EDP, Parfum, Sport, Extreme, uh, and then dark, noir, lot of themes. That is like a game of flankers. So yeah, it has been in the market for some time. Yes, fragrances, they will have flankers. Once they release something, if it plays well in the market, they will try to cash in, and then they will release some sport or cologne to make it more versatile, offer more variants. There's nothing absolutely wrong with it, but in that process, there are a lot of fragrances. They were totally flop. And I don't want to name one or two because I don't want to insult anybody or any company or offend anybody. But they released a lot of unnecessary flankers, limited release, and instantly they were called off from the shelf and they're discontinued. And ridiculously later, people are cashing on in it, like oh, discontinued, very rare to find, and then $30 cologne becomes $300. So that happened. So that is one trend of flankers, EDT, EDP, Parfum, Extreme, which is okay, I guess, if the fragrances are good. But the other trend has been like um, copying each other. Okay, very prime example. I have to give the example for you to understand. That is blue trend, for example, Bleu de Chanel, Dior Sauvage, and followed by thousand other similar fragrances. Aventus, thousand fragrances like Aventus. We reviewed them, we talked about them, we loved them, no problem. But at one point, sooner or later, it's bound to come to our mind that every single fragrance smell like one another. Dylan Blue, Coach, what else? Jimmy Choo Intense. You smell all of these fragrances and you smell some more. They all seem very pleasant, blue, and then similar to each other. And at certain point, you find straight up clones. Like Zara makes some clones, that is Dior cologne clones, Dior Sport clones, and they release like 5 6 fragrances, same fragrance under different name. So what is wrong with it? The whole thing, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a fragrance. There's nothing to take that seriously. Sorry, my scent of the morning is, I finally bought this beautiful bottle. This is Davidoff The Brilliant Game, the third flanker, I think, or second flanker, actually. This has that poker chip sort of bottle presentation. I really love this bottle. I reviewed this from one of my brother's sample that I ordered, Shafi Bhai's The Decant House, and I really wanted a full bottle. It's just so lovely. It's like not very beast mode, but it does last about 4 or 5 hours, but smells darn good. So I love fragrances that are inexpensive. These are very affordable, 30 $35, but the fragrances sometimes, they provide to you like, you know happiness. So yeah, I was going back to the point that What's wrong with it is nothing absolutely wrong with fragrances following the trend. But when you become sort of predictable, like, or you see a release and you be like, oh, okay, I know what to expect. There's violets, this and that, so it's gonna be violet trend. Um, at one point, you feel like I don't want to be in this game no more, because the game becoming like redundant purchase, bottle after bottle, many fragrances smell alike. One is clone of that. I want something unique. That's where I think niche fragrances, people lean towards niche fragrances more. At first I was thinking like my personal thought was people are trying to like show off this niche, I'm niche head this, but I think the understanding to really true niche heads is that they are looking for that more original release. They don't want another clone of something. They don't want another familiar fragrance or rather another synthetic molecule that will smell more, I don't know, synthetic, I guess. So they don't want that reputation. So they want something like a fragrance that will actually smell something like new. Even if they do like it or don't like it, understand, don't understand it, but it's bold. So that's why people tend more towards niche, because they take a lot more risk. They make, for example, niche indie house. They make a lot more fragrances daring, and then they make heavy on ambergris, or like, for example, Francesca Bianchi. Absolutely, that house is absolute quality. You actually argue like, hey, the prices aren't they high? Yes, if it's a good quality fragrance, you have to pay respect to the creator. That is how fragrance game works. But I think this is where niche and indie, sometimes if they're true niche and indie, means they are not just running with the hype train. They actually can create something great. Even designers have potential, great potential. They have a lot more money. Not all niche houses have that sort of money that they can produce bulk amount. They just produce little bit, right? But designers, if they decided, I really feel, because designer is my forte. I love designers. All my fragrances, 85% to 80% I would say, about all 85% actually, yeah, all designers or Middle Eastern fragrances. I have some niche, but on most part I buy designers because they excite me. But like, I think back in the time, if they could produce like a Dior Fahrenheit or Cool Water, or fragrances like those, Polo Green, um, Ralph Lauren Safari, this kind of fragrance, if they could produce Dior Intense, why can't they produce it now? Like, why everything has to be safe? Like Chanel, they haven't produced anything. I don't know what's the story with them. Nothing in the designer game, nothing. Absolutely, people are still stuck with their 10 years old Chanel Allure Sport or Eau Extreme. So we need something, like something more dynamic, something new. This is how fragrance games should be, progressive. So to produce new, to say like, another fragrance that smells like Sauvage or better than Sauvage, worse than Sauvage, that's where the excitement doesn't really, make you excited anymore. They're good fragrances. I love this fragrance, absolutely. No, make no mistake. I get compliments like wearing them. But if there was a, like when I started off 2015 or 16, like properly collecting, like I found the fragrance like Dunhill's Icon to be very unique. Like some people say this is a clone of Terre d'Hermes or similar to that, but I think this fragrance basically is a very nice, unique Neroli pepper vetiver. Amazing fragrance. Moment I smelled it, I was blown away. That was a good example of a good release. Then quality of Bentley for Man or Man Intense. These fragrances like CK Reveal, another unique fragrance, discontinued sadly. This fragrance are my favorite fragrance. Okay, one of my signature scents. I'll show you some more examples. Not all designers are same, not all of them are releasing just crap. uh, Another fantastic release, I think, let me pick up a designer recent times. mm, okay, anyway, let me show you good fragrances. Boss Bottled. Okay, this is another great fragrance. Okay, timeless classic. So this fragrance, when you see them, they are, you can see they put some thought, some research, and then they put some love behind the fragrances, and they smell unique. They make a statement of their own. So nowadays, you just try to, even in my reviews, I try to relate fragrances to each other, like this one smells like that. But I really wish there would be a day, new fragrance release of designers, I can say, oh, this one smells so unique, I never smelled that before. That would be fun. So this is just one to comparison a little bit. I think the transition, like the decades, like every 10 years, how fragrance trend or culture changes. So nowadays, I think we're becoming a lot more predictable as human beings. We don't like surprises. We like to stick to, like, what's popular, just go with the flow. But there was a time actually Fahrenheit caused like that trend, like people would just, you know rave about Fahrenheit. There was 1 million that came out, like it set a trend. Uh, so the thing is, I really wish rather than making 10 fragrances that smell like 90% like each other, if the designers they actually took their time and released something unique, um, like totally new, like something would be like Dior Intense, but in a different way. That would be so awesome, right? So that's why I think people tend to more towards niche. I can understand that niche and indie, and something more creative, artistic. So I guess that's the reason. So let me know your thoughts, what you think about that, and just want to share my thoughts. I was talking to Shafi Bhai, my good friend in community. He agrees with me. He's saying, yeah, back in the time, recognizable. Every single fragrance had its character. Nowadays, every single fragrance smell like each other. So, what's your thought about that? All right. So that's where I'll end. I'll move on to the reviews. Hopefully, you enjoy the morning thoughts, morning talk, and hopefully you like the reviews as well. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye bye.